Ladies and gents, welcome to the video. I'm GetGoodGuy and today we're talking about skill. That thing everybody wants but also triggers a buttload of people almost every time you bring it up in a video. So everybody chill, this video is purely for your entertainment, featuring what I believe is the true skill canon for each class at this point in the game. The idea being that I share my opinion and you share yours in the comments below and we'll see all the different choices that people have. Plus, maybe you'll end up trying a new gun and really connecting with it after watching this video. I did a list like this a while back, but the game has since altered, with this now being in the 6.2 update, so we'll now see which selections have remained the same for me and which ones have altered. So I've chosen 4 weapons that I feel right now are tough to use in one way or the other, but really shine when an able player gets to grips with them, to the point of people not being sure how that player is killing them so frequently and easily with it. But these aren't the quote-unquote best weapons in the game, I'm not saying that at all. Guns that don't have so many specific requirements to do well with them will be better for the vast majority of people, or as one of my internet friends put it to me, BF5 offers you diminishing returns for high skill weapons. Regardless, let's do this. For the assault class, we have exactly the gun I made a video about yesterday for exactly the reasons I provided in that video. Yep, absolutely exceptional planning by the one and only GetGoodGuy. But don't worry, we're not going to be covering each weapon for very long, so stick with me. This gun is the AGM/42, and this pick has stayed consistent from my last high skill weapon list. Nothing has overtaken it for me. It's also easily my personal favorite semi-auto in the game. It has been for a really long time. Barely anyone ever uses it, and I almost always find that when someone does use it, they cause me some problems to play against it, because when used well, it's an absolute nightmare to play against. But when used badly, it's probably one of the worst performing guns in the entire game. You literally have to be good with it for it to be worthwhile. If you even just use it to an average level, you'd be better off picking something else. So it basically defines the term skill canon. But why is that? Well, it has the equal fastest rate of fire for a semi-automatic weapon in the entire game, standing at 450 rounds per minute, which is great because it obviously allows you to put out a lot of bullets very quickly, whilst having the stability and accuracy of a semi-automatic weapon. But it also means you have to be able to actually fire your rounds out at somewhere approaching that optimal rate of fire. Otherwise, you're not making the most of the weapon and you'd be better off using something else. See the trade-off? If you can't maximize its output whilst also hitting the target, then you can't use it well. But if you can, there's a whole load of benefits. If you can hit that max rate of fire and land your damage, it has a time to kill that is extremely similar to the Gewehr 43 and the Carabin, 2 more popular options generally, and it then beats them for TTK at longer ranges. I saw a lot of pushback on my video about this gun, stating that it takes 4 shots to kill, where some other semi-autos only require 3. Yes, that's because of its high rate of fire. That's the point. And that's all part of why it's a skill cannon. It's not easy to use well, but it can destroy if you do. And nothing screams that more than its capability to 2-shot headshot. With the rate of fire it has, it makes it the fastest 2-shot headshot kill in the entire game. So you can spam people down at close range, pace your shots at mid-range, and then counter-snipe at long range. This is all balanced out by having only 10 or 11 rounds per reload, so the user needs to have good reload management, positional sense, fast reaction times, and precise aim to really make the AG work. It's not easy, but it's worth it. And that is why the AGM/42 is my pick for the high skill weapon for the assault class in the 6.2 update. Next up, in predictable fashion, we come to the medic class, and I've gone for the Trombolomachus. Yes, I know it's actually the Tromboncino of something, but with a name that long in a language I don't speak, it's essentially inevitable that I'm going to just call it whatever comes to mind. So the Trombodompicus gets my vote because it's a bolt action carbine, and this has changed from my previous list, mainly because SMGs are pretty much locked in to whatever their optimal range is now, as I've covered in depth in some recent videos, which kind of negates any skill canon nature. You either use them well and they do what they should, or you don't and they won't. Whereas a bolt action carbine is a precision weapon which already requires a little more aiming ability, it has the capability to headshot kill, and they're of extra relevance again now due to the rapid rise of semi-autos and self-loading rifles in the 6.2 update, not to mention that bolt-action rifles have better muzzle velocity now. So a precision ranged weapon that also allows you to heal due to being a medic is a potential counter and totally worth paying attention to. But why the triple dipple machine? Well, honestly, it's a pure toss-up between it and the jungle carbine, and I pretty much couldn't split them. So I went for the trombone because basically I've talked about the jungle carbine before, and I think they're both better than the commando carbine. So the jungle carbine has slightly better damage and can use high velocity rounds, making it a better option for longer range engagements. A real counter sniper, I guess. And it only drops off to a 3-shot body shot kill at 101 meters and has 10 rounds per reload. Whereas our chosen weapon for today, Tapioca, drops to a 3-shot body shot at 76 meters and has 6 rounds per reload. But the advantages it has are that it has a slightly quicker rate of fire, allowing for faster 2-shot kills up to 75 meters and also past 100 meters, only losing out to the jungle carbine between 76 and 100 meters. This also means you can more quickly fire off to try and pick up headshots, and in addition to this, it has the alternate fire mode which allows you to utilize grenades, which is kinda cool. So I can't tell you which is better, it comes down to you as a player, but they're both without doubt skill cannons. A less able player will not play optimally with a bolt action carbine. Missing a lot of shots absolutely destroys your output, but if you can be accurate and use those medic heals well, you can be an absolute menace for the enemy to play against. And so that's why I've chosen the Tropic Thunder as the high skill weapon for the medic class in update 6.2. Next up we come to the support class, and this one is going to seem super weird at first, but let me explain. It's a different selection for the list this time, and I've gone for the Madsen, a gun I take absolutely no joy out of using, but really the support class kind of lacks a skill cannon right now, so I'm clutching at straws. Honestly, support got kind of screwed by the 6.2 update where the machine guns are concerned. Now it could be argued that shotguns are the reason to actually use support now, really, when it comes to having at least some kind of advantage. Machine guns are inferior to a lot of other weapons at their optimal range at this point due to the balancing, whereas shotguns are back to their 5.0 damage values. But I just feel that the map design of the game makes shotguns a bad choice in 99% of situations, even with slug rounds or the drilling with a rifle round. Yes, they totally require skill, but a lot of the time it's kind of irrelevant. I also haven't gone for something like the BAR because although it melts people up close, doing that isn't super high skill. Just stick in close range and win 1v1s. It's not exactly easy due to recoil and a small mag, but not super hard either, and the reward for it is pretty basic. So why then the Madsen get good? Well, because it's all I'm really left with, but it's the only one with a genuine advantage that also requires you to play in a very specific fashion, and it is actually, honestly, the best automatic weapon in the game for ranged gunfights. The Madsen is a slower firing option. It has a massive gun model that obscures your view and has atrocious close range killing power, so it's absolutely awful for running and gunning. But that's not the only skill in the game. Positioning and gunfight selection is a skill in itself, so employing that is the skill here, whilst being able to avoid getting caught out at close quarters. It's no easy task if you actually want to be effective and not just sit at the edge of the map, but if you're able to pull it off, your reward is a 5-shot kill up to 50 meters and 6 shots beyond that. It's very consistent in that regard, and you can catch people out who just don't expect to die from a machine gun in that fashion anymore. Slower firing automatics got gimped in the mid-range for some reason, so the Madsen is a standout where that's concerned, and that combined with you having to be very wary of its downsides makes it my choice for the high skill weapon of the support class in the 6.2 update. But I totally understand why that seems very strange, and there was no good option really. Poor support class. And finally we come to the Recon class, and I've gone for a bolt action rifle because really at this point it felt weird not to pick a sniper for a skill cannon, even if they don't match up to the self-loading rifle statistically overall. Now, one of the guys I speak to about statistical analysis totally disagreed with picking a bolt action rifle, and his logic is sound. The Model 8 is a better choice for overall performance for most players, for example, which is a self-loading rifle, due to it being able to destroy people in 2 quick shots at a decent range, whilst having to manage a small ammo count, and I totally agree. But I simply can't ignore the ability to one-shot kill to the head at any range for any player that's got robot aim. Now, nearly nobody has, but that's the point. It's a skill cannon, and if I didn't pick a sniper for the skill cannon on this video, I know some people would have felt like it's ridiculous. Now, I don't snipe much in this game because, as stated, statistically bolt actions don't measure up to other options, and even less so on console, to be honest, because you've got to hit those headshots and you're using thumbsticks, so my footage isn't exactly the best example. But I've gone for the Lee Enfield. Not a super popular choice, I know, and really all bolt actions are skill cannons, and you can just pick whichever you personally think is the best candidate. it. For me, it's the Lee Enfield as it's the least rewarding for body shots due to it being lower damage, but it allows you to utilize a higher rate of fire for fast reaction kills and quicker headshot sprees if you're capable. Now again, I simply don't use them enough to demonstrate this, but I'm sure you see my point. But pick whichever bolt action rifle you think fits the bill. For me, it is the Lee Enfield, and that's why it's my pick for the high skill weapon of the Recon class in update 6.2. And that's my list. Remember, it's just my opinion provided for your entertainment. Please do share with me your list down below, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leaving a like is massive for me. It's really appreciated and it helps the channel to grow. If you're new here, please do consider subscribing and maybe turning on those notifications to stay up to date with the huge amount of content I'm putting out. And all the links to my social media, including Patreon, can be found in the description and my pinned comment. Here is the Board of Awesome for the epic people who already support me on Patreon. They're all absolute heroes and I love them all deeply and of course, often. If you want to join them on the Board of Awesome, the link to the Patreon page is in the description and my pinned comment. And with that all said, I am GetGoodGuy and I'll see you next time. Laters. You're not weighing up how far away they are or anything like that, whereas you are with the M1A1 and quite a lot of other semi-autos. Then the M1A1 requires 6 bullets to kill past 100 meters, whereas, as I mentioned, the AG only requires 5.